Hello and what is going on, you guys? Hyperion-Blue-GT is here for round 3 in season 2 of the 2021 Exhibition Series Nations Cup on Gran Turismo Sport. Today, it's going to be cloudy out there in Autódromo de Interlagos for 20 laps. We'll be choosing for today's Group X category. We'll be featuring with the SF19 Super Formula. We'll be on the way to have two choices of the engine variant. Toyota or Honda will be going in to be in the grid start with false start check by having two tires in the mandatory, medium and soft racing compound tires to be on the regulation. So I went down to do some research on how to get a Michelin Pilot Sport tire sticker to be well keep on any vehicle whenever you like to select. But it looks interesting, but I have 9 of my SF19 Super Formula will be needed to have a tire sticker to be well keep until the thumbnail will be changed by the update. I'll be using the Toyota engine variant with the UDRS in Sportec will get set automatically to be on the balance of performance. We all know the drill. Get yourself prepared and take a lot of practice, join in session to be in the lobby, and do your best out there. If you're new to my YouTube channel, go and click the subscribe button and leave a like and comment at the section down below, and check out the links on the description if you really want to see more. Feel free to enjoy it anytime you want for the entertainment. Now it's time to get ready to start the race, and let's begin. The 2021 Exhibition Series Nations Cup is about to begin in round 3. SF19 Super Formula goes on by having some good liveries. Here's Demon Craig in first place to be at the start, followed by second number 2 is Quadrantic is now ready to go. And here is position number 3, Warrior 2077 is now going in to have a mad livery. And here's Barsori Ottawa in 4th place to get started out. And we have Miami 305 Flash is now starting out in 5th place. 6th place is Andorus 105 is now going in for the carbon fiber variant to be original. Here's my 7th place for the UDRS in Sportec for the Toyota engine livery variant. Rocker Braze is now starting out to be in position number 8. And we have Dusty 5T1G is now starting out to be in position number 9. And we have Xavier_384 is now going in. Next up is Red Hot Sea Peppers in the Twix livery on to position number 11. JR Mustang 03 is now starting out in position number 12 with a Honda engine variant. Zero_Solo 99 takes on in position number 13. And we have I-96 Teso 96i is now ready to start out. Whiteman 00 starts out in position number 15, followed by position number 16 is Shatien Love. Good to go to have a nice Toyota engine variant to have a carbon fiber. And PR Saltman is now starting out in position number 17. Morin Smorin is now arrived on to pole number 18. Perlux Unis is now starting out to be in number 19 position. And we have ATK Butter Smolger goes in to take the last place. Alright viewers, looks like this is going to be the perfect race to take on the Brazilian racing circuit in Interlagos. Starting grid will be going in by having 5 seconds until we're about to hit the green. Choose a strategy to be starting out with a medium or soft racing compound tires by having a good recommend laps. Keep a good hold on to the foot and the brake until the race will begin. And here we go viewers, looks like this is going to be quite giving a good excellent traction controls by having a safe start. Good luck out there folks, the 3rd round in season 2 of the 2021 Exhibition Series goes underway. Good luck out there viewers, and racers, do your best and keep on racing to stay clean. After taking turn 1 and turn 2 before it goes right over onto turn 3, It looks like Quadnex is now going in to take the front to be in the full straightaway towards the end of Sector 1 before entering onto Sector 2. Take the blind corner by having a good braking point will be going in on the way. And Andreas 105 is now, oh boy, it looks like there goes Warrior 2077 just barely took a hit by having a barrier, just losing control onto the traction response. Better make sure whenever we have to stay in onto the second gear, viewers. That should be quite given the only possibility whenever we have to keep a good mobility to stay in the balance. Andreas 105 is going in by having a slow down position, and Insport Tech is taking the dodging overtake to be proceed over on to hairpin number 3. That should be quite giving a good position start to be moving onto fifth place. Insport Tech is now going in to catch up onto the 4 drivers in Sector 3 towards the final corner will be on the way. Borsoi Ottawa is now going in to catch up onto Demon Craig to be moving on to be in 3rd place by having a head start to be in 1st place. Rocket Blaze 14 is now moving on to take 2nd place, and the first lap is going clear out there onto Quad Randix is now taking the fastest lap for only a minute and 25.65 seconds before it goes down onto turn 1 by the S turns. Taking on turn 3 is going to be quite giving a good push out there. The top 3 racers are now going in to be on the Sector 1 clear to be proceed on to Sector 2 again by having a good turn by having a blind corner. And luckily for Insport Tech is having 2 cars accompanied by having an overtake. Junior Mustang 03 followed by Velux Unnus is now going in to be in 6th and 5th place. Hold on, the contact is going to be quite giving it detected out there. Better make sure to take exercise caution when we're in the hairpins. Followed by Miami 305 Flash, and Shotgun Love is now coming in to take the scene. And Andreas 105 is here once again, and the carbon fiber variants are now going in to take that passing battle to catch up with some several SF19 Super Formula liveries. Is going to be quite giving a good push out there to be climbing up onto the 5th position by the battle. And there's 96, Tessio 96 is now taking on in 10th place and drops down onto UDRS Insportec to be dropped down onto 11th place in Sector 3 after 4 SF19 Super Formula race cars with a carbon fiber and custom liveries to be moving on to take the final turn to have a full stretch to be on the curb straightaway. Onto the update onto Quad Rant X is now taking the fastest lap for only a minute and 18.804 seconds. Is going to be quite good out there to have a nice faster run to take the lead. Onto the last second, Rocket Blaze 14 is now on the defense for the ropes to catch up onto Quan Renix, and there is Demon Craig is now going in to tackle in onto Rocket Blaze 14 in 2nd place, while the 3rd place driver is now going in to have a good push out there to have a struggle overtake to be in the hairpins to be in the first part. Sector 2 is going to be a little bit tricky out there, folks, for the SF19 Super Formula. And there goes for several drivers by having a good rope out there, by having some good applied overtakes, will be giving a good short amount temporarily by having a length of the distance. Zero Solo is now going forward to catch up onto Junior Mustang 03 in 9th place. 3rd hairpin times the charm is going to be quite giving a good triple by 3. And goes in by having a good length of a push for Zero Solo 99 to be giving a little bit much boost out there to catch up onto Junior Mustang 03. Sector 3 is going clear and goes over again onto the curb straightaway. Will Zero Solo 99 could probably have to catch up with a 9th and 8th place driver before at the end of lap number 3 before moving on into lap number 4. And here it goes. Dive down onto turn 1 at the S curves, and Junior Mustang 03 is now going for the offense to catch up onto the 8th place driver. Velux Unis is now going in for the defense to take the full straightaway after turn number 3. Taking a contact where Zero Solo 99 goes in onto Sector 2 and pulls the brake for only 3 cars. If anything that happens, that should be quite giving a good exercise caution to stay on track for every opponent out there before going right back onto the hairpin section in the 2nd sector. There you go. Looks like Junior Mustang 03 almost barely lost touch of it. And that makes Zero Solo 99 takes 9th place to be moving on to catch up onto Velux Unis, while UDRS Insportec in the SF19 with a Toyota engine variant. But heads up, the yellow flag signal just barely called in by having a no passing zone. while Exhibitor_384 comes in. Oh boy, looks like this is definitely might be giving a close call out there for Insportec to be dropped down automatically to be in position number 15. Moving on to take Sector 3, and I cannot believe it. Almost barely had the chance to lose control while having our traction controls to be switched over onto 0 since the one active since the start of the race by having a grid start. Now it takes for having a struggle out there because Demon Crag is now blocking in for Insportec's current overtake position to be moving on to take lap number 5, and ATK Brother Smolcher is now in the scene before taking on in turn 1 and 2 at the S curves. That should be quite giving a good hard work effort out there to see it, but I almost barely had it, folks. Demon Crag just barely blocked UDRS Insportec current position by the overtake at the curb straightaway before entered in onto the pits. Avoiding the ignoring track limit is going to be a slightly risked by having a 0.5 second penalty, but the answer is no for Insportec. Gonna have to continue on by any chances before taking on or having a grueling struggle by several opponents to be moving on to take the 5th lap, only 15 more to go by the remaining. Still gets a little bit hard push out there to be in the hairpin section before moving on to take the 3rd part. Inside formation is going to get a little bit clearer out there to reach up onto Junior Mustang 03 in 14th place. Catches up to be in Sector 3 by several opponents to be moving on to take the final straight by having a good curve straightaway to have a good push onto the slipstream. Demon Crag is now going in to take on with a 12th place driver before at the end of lap number 5 goes on to take lap number 6, viewers. Let's see some good fastest lap moments out there for several opponents out there to have a nice run to be in Interlagos. Gonna have to dive down onto the Santa S to be in turn 1 and 2, and one driver just barely took the penalty in 0.5 seconds for the 11th place driver. That means that should be quite giving an opportunity for the 12th and 13th drivers to be moving on by having the next turn to be in the hairpin in Sector 2. That's the ticket, and Warrior 2077 is now going in by having an ongoing push to catch up onto Balak's Honest in 13th place to be over onto the first part of this hairpin straightaway is going to be quite giving a little bit tricky out there. The Mad Livery versus the Carbon Fiber variant is about to go on for having a one good interesting showdown will be get started out to be in the 3rd hairpin. Taking a little bit contact push, and oh boy, looks like Warrior 2077 just barely lost touch of the handling by having a traction controls to be switched up into 0. That was a close call, practically. Yeah, I know, this is why it's definitely might be quite giving a good clear speech to see how Warrior 2077 just almost barely had loosened control onto the handling response after the 3rd hairpin, because he can still got it in one piece before moving on to take the next lap. We'll have to go again for having another run, for having another rematch. Now goes on to take lap number 7 while UDRS Insportec is having a little bit troubling handling after ATK Brother Smolcher has the opportunity to be in 14th place. Drops down onto 15th place, however. It could be quite giving a lot of hard struggle out there to be starting out with the medium racing compound tires. We'll be doing the first roll by having a main requirement mandatory. Still gets a lot of hard work out there to be moving on to take the 2nd sector by having 3 hairpins all at once. Velox is now going in to be in the first one again after several drivers comes in, and Warrior 2077 overtakes Velox Honest is now moving on to be in position number 12. That's the ticket. Let's see how Warrior could probably have to keep it up by having a good defense while Velox is now going faster by the offense while Insportec is coming in to take the next list to be able to go on. And here comes Sector 3. The final turn is going to get a little bit risky to have a one good push by using the overtake. Gets a little bit much slipstream out there for having a good slightly call. Almost there, and looks like Varsovie Ottawa is now entered the pits by using the soft racing compound tires to be entered in to be stopped at lap number 7. And here comes lap number 8 for several opponents to be moving on by having a good grueling battle out there to be in the battle positions to see how several opponents could probably have to keep it up and push forward by dealing with the length of the distance for only a few more meters to go by having an ongoing rush. So meanwhile, for Insportec is still moving on to take the last minutes. Catching up on to Velox Unas is now going in for having a push ropes for the defense and goes for a little bit offense to take the inside, and there it goes. There it goes for Insportec to take the first hairpin by the overtake. Impressive. That should be quite giving a good strategy moment out there to be keeping a good mobility balance to be in the first hairpin before taking the second hairpin, and the third hairpin is going to be quite giving on the way to be reached up by having the rest of the main opponents after leaving Sector 2 before going in onto Sector 3 again. Just like last time back in the second round in the Manufacturer Series, well, maybe especially goes for the Nations Cup by having a different racetrack to be using for the SF19 Super Formula. It also makes sense to see how capabilities to have some good differences by any roles by having a good heroic act to have a good successful chances for having a clean race. But the struggle is very challenging, but any rarity is going to be quite giving a good call out there to make. Well, I know this is why it's definitely might be quite giving a good practice moment out there by using two SF19 Super Formula with the Toyota and Honda engine variants is going to be quite giving a best choices by every types of exterior parts to be putting up with some good liveries on it to have a good recognition call. Now let's just gonna have to go back again to have some good racing action moments to see some several opponents is now moving on to be in the second sector. But we have one driver just barely took the penalty for only 0.5 seconds, and that means it's going to be quite giving a hard guess to see it by having a good surveillance replay. And there they are, after leaving Sector 2 before it goes right back onto Sector 3, moving on to take the curve straightaway as the final corner to be moving on towards the end of lap number 9 before headed towards lap number 10, viewers. Warrior 2077 is currently on to 10th place, and we have Dusty Stig is now going in onto the pits along with Rocket Blaze 14 by using the soft racing compound tires. Will be giving the first step of the main requirement, will be switched over onto the medium racing tires. 10 more to go by the halfway mark, viewers. We can still got this. 12 minutes since the race began, and added by more 12 minutes is going to be quite getting a little bit much better interest to be reached over by having a 25-minute limit time. We'll have to get started out for having a successful challenging race for having a Super Formula at Interlagos. Moving on in Sector 2 for the 9th place driver for the Insportec racing team is going in by having a defense. ATK Buttersmalcher is now going forward by only 0.4 seconds by the remaining of the distance gap is going to get close in onto the first hairpin. Pack it up with the defense, and here comes the second hairpin is going to be quite coming in to be on the slow position. But wait, looks like Buttersmalcher has that opportunity. We'll have to go past with Insportec, and hairpin number 3 is going to be giving a nick of time by having a close call by having a good correct balance. There's Quadman X is now going into the pits by having a racing soft tires to be in the first lap to be selected and switched over onto the medium racing tires, along with Warrior 2077 is now entered the pits as well. Same tire compound to be labeled on the red by having an S, and then switch over onto the yellow to be labeled in medium. 9 more to go, folks. Insportec is now coming in to have a major battle to catch up on to Buttersmalcher is now taking the push to be in position number 7. Gets a little bit closer to have the first stop to be recommend at the end of lap number 11 for UDRS Insportec. Comes in onto Sector 2 is going to be the only main call out there, but it could be much possible for having any chances to be going in by having late lap number 11. We'll have to get settled on for the chances. Staying on track and giving a little bit push to be in the first hairpin. Slow it down and goes in on to hairpin number 2. Too much over rev. That should be giving a little bit less exercise caution. And there is Andreas 105 is now entered the pits in position number 2, followed by Miami 305 Flash is now takes the lead. And there's Zero Solo 99 to be enter the pits by using the medium racing tires. That should be goes in onto 96. Tessio 96 is now doing the same thing as well. that should be the only second map did by using the medium racing tires to be in the first part of the lap. And here comes Insport Tech to be switched in by having a medium, and Dassault Racing tires to be switched over by having a second main requirement to be on the mandatory. But here it comes. Just gonna have to give a no refuel zone. We'll be giving it only chances to see how Insport Tech could probably have to work it out. Zero Solo 99 is now coming out onto the pits by exit, along with 96 Tessio I. And then Insport Tech switched over onto the different tire compound by pit out and continued on to be in lap number 12. There's the 15 and 17 place driver is now coming in, and Insport Tech is now raring to go to catch up with 3 SF19 Super Formula race car to be moving on to be in Sector 2. Let's get it on, and let's see how Insport Tech could probably have to embrace it. There we go, left side by the overtake, and take on with 2 cars for the next one to be in 15 and 16 place drivers will be coming over to be in the first hairpin. Red Hot Sea Peppers in the Twix livery is now going to be taking the second hairpin to catch up on to Morin Smolin. Come on, just going to have to keep a little bit push, and goes in by having a good correct push onto the traction. Staying on the handling, touch the apex, leaving Sector 2, goes right back onto Sector 3. Let's see some good overtake action, and goes nearly there. Coming in onto the side-by-side towards the end of lap number 12, and here comes lap number 13. We'll be moving on automatically by any different position. Morin Smorin is now coming down onto turn 1 and 2 by the Senna S, and Red Hot Sea Peppers comes in by having a ropes to take the slipstream to catch up onto the 14th place driver. But we have the 13th place driver is now crossing the penalty line automatically to be forcefully slowed down earlier before moving on to take Sector 2. But heads up, looks like Morin Smorin just barely going off the track and giving a little bit cautions out there by having a penalty detected for only 0.5 seconds. So that's how what happens whenever we have to be very more careful to be in a blind corner in Sector 2 by having a grand entrance. Stay on the correct line onto the surface of the road, and goes off the track by having a penalty is going to be giving the pain zone is going to be forcefully to be automatically. Getting a little bit nearly there, folks. Red Hot Sea Peppers is now going forward to take the next lap by having the opportunity along with UDRS Insport Tech in 16th place to be continued on by having a one good chance for the overtake. Giving a boost, and goes in onto the curve straightaway at the final corner before it reaches up onto the 14th lap. And then here it goes. Dive down onto turn 1 again, and let's see how Morin Smorin could probably have to keep it up until a few more length of the distance to go before it reaches up onto the penalty line. Red Hot Sea Peppers and UDRS Insport Tech is now going in to take the push. And Morin Smorin slows down quickly, and Insport Tech passes on along with Red Hot Sea Peppers to be automatically to be in 14th and 15th place to be entered onto Sector 2. Wonderful. 2 cars overtake 1 driver by having a forcefully slow down by crossing the penalty line. But hold on to the last second. Red Hot Sea Peppers just barely hit the 0.5 second penalty. This cannot be good. That means for Morin Smorin just gonna have the opportunity to be entered in onto the next lap. Will have to go forward by the overtake. But 3's a crowd and 1's a company for Shajin's Love for having a same penalty like Red Hot Sea Peppers is now coming over for taking the next lap to be in number 15. Only 3 lucky cars by having a good run out there, and especially for only 2 cars by having a penalty in the SF19 Super Formula is having a little bit trouble with ignoring the track limit, is going to be quite doing the same thing like last time back in from last seasons. So let's see how 5 cars can probably be handled to take the turn 1 and 2 at the Senna S. Gonna keep an eye out. Shajin Love and Red Hot Sea Peppers is now closing in onto the penalty line for any chances for only 3 drivers by lucky chances has to be moving on to be in Sector 2. And there it goes. Red Hot Sea Peppers drops down onto position number 16, and for the same position for Shajin Love in position number 17. But hold on, looks like we have Demon Craig is in the scene. That could be quite giving a little bit hard to handle. Pulling up the brake, yellow flag calls in, and this could be giving an instant replay to go on for the investigation. Gonna have to stay strong for Insportech. Going a little bit much near towards the bottom position is gonna be quite very harder out there to take. Keep going at it. We still got this before moving on to take the next 5 laps. Will be reached over onto the final run. Fuel is going to get a little bit low in about 25% remaining. Just going to have to keep on racing and stay strong by having a push to be in the slipstream. And there it goes. White Man 00 and Miami 305 Flashes now enter the pits to be switched over onto the medium racing tires to be going over onto the racing soft. That should be quite given. The only best method would be stopping in onto the late lap to be in the middle section to be in this race. But still goes on for having a battle. We'll be moving on, folks. Takes a hard push for Red Hot Sea Peppers to be keep going forward on to Shajin's Love current position on to number 13. Insportech is currently on to 15th place to be moving on in sector 2 to be dealing with the hairpins to be in the 3 sections. Gonna keep an eye out, take some exercise caution, and goes for the inside. That's the ticket. Insportech is now planning to be on a comeback. Oh boy, looks like Moritz Morin just having some problems out there after the 3rd hairpin before it enters on to sector 3 again. And there it goes. Another yellow flag signal just barely called in automatically to be earlier. So I hope several drivers could probably have to keep continuing on to be in lap number 17. Only 3 more to go by the remaining. So let's see how the latest update goes on for the fastest lap. So here's Warrior 2077 is now entered on to position number 3. He is going in to be in the bronze position along with Andreas 105 and goes in to be in first place. Quad Ran X is now in the lead to be in the gold spot. How brilliant to see how different drivers comes in onto the top 3 position, folks. But I hope Warrior 2077 has the perfect role by the nick of time, goes in for having a good brilliant battle out there to be in the top 3 position, goes on for only a 4th and 5th place driver is now taking on for the hard push. But still goes on for Insportech to be in sector 2 to be going in after turn 1 of the hairpin and goes in onto the 2nd hairpin to be reached up towards the final hairpin by dealing 3 drivers between the 9th and 11th place drivers. ATK Brother Smolcher is now staying on the focus track to catch up on to Dusty Stig. Take the next turn on to number 10 and passes on over to be in the final corner to be on the curve straightaway. And Shojin's Love has the opportunity by taking the slipstream to catch up on to Brother Smolcher, but having an ongoing defense towards the end of lap number 17 before it enters lap number 18. And also for having a minor changes, and we have Zero Solo 99 is entered in onto 3rd place after Warrior 2077 goes in onto the pits automatically by using the medium racing tires to be switched over onto the racing soft. Almost barely had the chance, and he did the right thing. He did the right thing, could do 2 tires in the mandatory, will have to proceed forward to cross the finish line without having a 1-minute penalty. How awesome is that to do the right thing, to see how several drivers to be in the top position could probably might have to do one last stop to be switched over onto the different tire compound, folks. But we still got a lot of chances to go, and we got ATK Brother Smolcher and Shajin Love is now going in to take the battle for 9th place. But we have a penalty detected for only 0.5 seconds. That means an opportunity for ATK Brother Smolcher is about to be moving on to be in 9th place, and the next lap will be proceed forward automatically. Gonna have to take a good push for having a slipstream for Brother Smolcher. Staying on track to have a good push to catch up onto Shajin's Love, while having a defense will be on the way before taking on in turn 1 onto lap number 19. And for the side-by-side goes on for having a good length of the distance and goes over onto the inside in turn 1 before it comes in onto turn 2 at the center S before proceed on to turn number 3 at the wide open to be in the left corner position. Nearly there by having an early call, Butter Smulcher takes the push and moves on to be in position number 9. Shajin's Love is dropping down onto position number 10 due to the penalty effect by crossing the yellow line to be forcefully to be doing a quick slowdown. But still takes a lot of hard push for Insportec to be currently on to position number 11. Dive down again onto hairpin number 1 and goes over onto hairpin number 2. Giving a good length of the transmission gear to be staying onto the second, and slows down again after hairpin number 3 goes for a successful response. Mobility is going to be quite giving a good motivation. Clean Efforts comes in by having a good run and takes on over to be in turn 10 at sector 3. Quick recovery and now proceed forward for having a one last final push to be in the final lap. And here it goes. The top 3 drivers is now coming in to have a good final showdown. Will be on the way. Andreas 105 is currently on the second place to take one last push to reach up onto Quad Ran X in first place. Don't forget Zero Solo 99 is now currently on the third place by having a defense, and that could go on for having a 4th and 5th place driver by the ongoing. Getting a little bit nearly there for only one last final sector, Quad Ran X could probably have to take the final stretch to take home the podium. And especially goes on for Insportec to be dropped down onto position number 12, and the overtake function is now barely last in use. Here comes, viewers. Looks like we have to keep an eye out for the checker flag. We got ourselves the first place winner will be coming in on the way. And it's Quad Ran X is now takes the win for having a first place in round 3 in season 2 of the 2021 Exhibition Series of the Nations Cup. What an SF19 Super Formula win for Quad Ran X is now taking on first place for the victory win. Incredible. The spectators are cheering for Quad Ran X is now becomes the winner of this year's second season of the 2021 Exhibition Series in round 3. Followed by Andreas 105 takes second place by having a good silver medal position spot and goes on to Zero Solo 99 in third place. And there you have it, viewers. Looks like everybody have finally reached the finish line on time by having a good clear run by a lucky chance, and several of them just barely took the red dot onto the penalty. But we have a 1-minute penalty detected for Morin Smorin. Doesn't switched up onto the tire compound to be in a different category, and lucky for Dusty Stig is now taking 1 second. Very close enough. White Man 00 did a good job onto 15th place to be reached up onto the finish. Only 3 more to go. Is still running around is JR Mustang 03, for Los Unas, and Miami 305 Flash is now reaching up onto the final stretch. So far so good, and looks like we got some good successful drivers out there for having a good lucky chance without getting caught in the penalty. And especially goes on for the top 3 drivers did a pretty good proud job out there for having a nice successful run. 27 minutes to be in the total time, and Quad Ran X becomes the winner in this year's second season in round 3 for the Nations Cup of the 2021 Exhibition Series. Nice work. Very nice work, until we will be prepared for having a main resort outcome for several drivers by using the SF19 Super Formula with Toyota and Honda engine variant to be keep in use by having a Michelin Pilot Sport tire sticker to be well featured to be in the spotlight. Well, number 2 is doing a lot of better chances out there for having a hard work to be in Interlagos. So let's go in and collect some earnings by having some more mileage points and more distance to be climbing up simultaneously for having a daily workout. Way to keep it up out there to be in the 3rd round in the Nations Cup, folks. Sometimes having a clean race is doing a successful moment, and losing control by having a dirty race to be marked in onto the penalty to be in the red dot. And also good news for the top 3 drivers. Quad Ran X by using the Honda engine variant with its own very good livery for having a nice successful job well done. So I hope I could probably have to give a good congratulations for having a good victory win, and receive response for having an endorsement from Red Hot Sea Peppers and ATK Butter Smulcher, because that race was incredible. Clean Race did a pretty good average job out there, and also for having a thank you response from Quad X for having a good endorsement, for having a good reaction, because he thinks I am fast, close enough, but I'm still trying to get everything warmed up to have a good sportsmanship rating to stay in onto the blue. But there might be several opponents just barely took mark onto the red. That means just gonna have to try again and move forward or proceed over on to the next round, or maybe the next season is gonna be quite giving much practice to be doing well extended. But anyhow, just gonna have to keep an eye out whenever the SF19 Super Formula will be on the way to be keeping an eyes checked for having an ordinary daily race. As especially goes on for only 8 SF19 Super Formula with Honda and Toyota engine variants to be well kept to be having a good needed for some photo op souvenirs. Luckily, the only answer is just gonna have to go in onto the free practice, choose any kinds of vehicles that would be added with the Michelin Pilot Sport tire sticker, entered in, take on the time trial, exit out, goes over onto the car settings, and exit out and leave. That's how the Michelin tire sticker is the most rare discovery in Gran Turismo Sport that every GT players didn't notice. It's gonna be quite giving a good, interesting surprise. Moving on in round 4, we'll be going in to be at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps to be in the next stop by having a Group 3 category to be in the selection. There will be Audi, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and Porsche will be on the way to take on with a 4 German manufacturer car brand to be on the showdown. Thank you for tuning in on my video, folks. I hope you really enjoy. So make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, bell for notification uploads to be turned on, and the links on the description down below if you really want to see more. You can check it out on Instagram, Deepnet Art, GT Planet, and other social media platforms if you really want to follow me. And don't forget to support my main project, Vision Total Drama, the next chapter of the Total Drama fan art to support the community. I'll be see you guys next time for continue on in Season 2 of the 2021 Exhibition Series Nations Cup on Gran Turismo Sport, and I will see you later in the next video. Keep on racing, stay clean.